Hello everyone. Good morning and welcome to today's session. So today we are going to cover the Vagrant. Last time we covered the virtual machines and we are going to cover with the Vagrant today, and we are going to perform with the lab of the Vagrant as well. So anyone having any questions from the previous sessions can ask now. Okay. So before we start on the Vagrant session, I want you to download the Vagrant as well as the VirtualBox on your Windows laptop. Okay. These are little big downloads of 200 MB or so. So it might take some time during which we are going to cover the session. Okay. And then we are going to quickly jump onto the lab and perform the Vagrant lab. And then we are going to start with our version version management system. That's our Git. Okay, so that will be the agenda for today. Okay, so just give me a second. Let me share you the link. All right, so here is a vagrant for you. Okay, so you need to go to vagrantup.com. Okay, just let me provide you the link. That's okay. Just visit this link, vagrantup.com, and you have to download the latest version of the Vagrant on your system. Okay. Then comes your Oracle VirtualBox. Okay. So you can download the VirtualBox from the Oracle VirtualBox website. That's a product of Oracle. Okay. So we are going to use VirtualBox. VirtualBox is the actual virtualized hypervisor which is going to create the virtual machine for us. Okay, and we are going to use the vagrant to interact with the VirtualBox. We are not going to interact directly, but rather through the vagrant that will help us in automation. Yes, Sanjay, you need to download the 2.2.4 version. Okay, just download the latest one. Okay, and here is the VirtualBox. Once you open this link, okay, so there you can go on to your host. Like this is my Windows, so I will go to the Windows host. Okay, and the download should start like that. Okay, anyone having any questions still here? So just download this VirtualBox and Vagrant on your system for now, and then we are going to perform the lab on it. Okay, so everyone got this? Should we start our today's session now? Hi, Sujit. All right, so I hope everyone has downloaded the Vagrant and the VirtualBox now. So let me start with the today's session. Yes, Nikunja, we need to download the Vagrant for Windows 64-bit. uh, yeah, Sujit, I can unmute you. Just a second, let me unmute you.
Hey, so I just got it that we have to download the version for Windows, correct?
You have to download the VirtualBox. VirtualBox is 6.0.4 and Virtual Vagrant is 2.2.4.
Okay, okay, got it. Thank you.
Everyone, I would request you to join. Everyone should join on time. Okay, that would save us some time. Otherwise, everything has to be repeated. Okay, so we are downloading VirtualBox and Vagrant. That's it. Just the installer part. Okay, for the Windows and nothing else. We haven't performed the lab yet because we haven't covered the Vagrant yet. Okay, I just want you to download it because the downloads are little big in size, so depending upon your internet speed it might take some time. Okay, we are just trying to save that time. That's Vagrant, and you can download VirtualBox from this link. Looks like will take some time for download to complete. Yes, Samiksha, it will take some time. That's why we are going to perform the uh, theory part for the Vagrant during the meantime. Okay, Bala, you can try refreshing your network or try refreshing the window if it's saying temporarily disconnect. Okay, it should be able to resolve. That's the official download link. Yes, we are going to perform on the Windows because most of you are on the Windows. If anyone is working on Mac or Linux, they can download the versions for the for the Mac or Linux. Okay, but we are going to perform on Windows because most of the people are on Windows only. Okay. Yeah, Prasad, Mac is fine, so you can perform on Mac as well. It's supported on Mac. Okay. And Mac and Linux are comparatively easier because you don't need additional SSH software like PuTTY, etc., to connect to your virtual machines. So there would be less number of steps in them. Okay, just that we are going to perform on Windows so that everyone is, most of you are able to connect. Okay, but the things remain same whether you are working on any operating system. They all will be same. Okay, there won't be any much of the difference. All right, so we were talking about the Vagrant. Okay, in the last session we talked about the virtual machines and how we can use the hypervisors to create the virtual machines. Okay, then we talked about type 1 hypervisor and type 2 hypervisor. Okay, so today we are going to cover the Vagrant, which is basically your type 2 hypervisor. Okay, so using Vagrant, you everyone is having the operating system already installed, whether it's Windows, Macs, that is another thing. Okay, but everyone is having right now a operating system is already installed. So if you remember the type 2 virtualization, over the type 2 virtualization, we have an operating system installed on our physical VM, physical machine, and over that, an operating system is there. Over the operating system, we are going to install a hypervisor. In our case, the hypervisor is VirtualBox, which is facilitating the virtual machines creation. Okay, and over that hypervisor, we are going to create the virtual machines without affecting the base machine, which is our host operating system. In my case, it's Windows. In your case, it can be your Mac or Windows. Okay, whatever you are working on. So you don't need to change the base operating system. You can continue to use your own laptop in the way that you are always going to use, just that you are able to create a virtual machine over that laptop, okay, without affecting your host operating system. So you can, it sort of facilitates you for a temporary VM creation where you can perform your uh, any of the you can create any of your testing environment. Whatever tools that we are going to perform, we are just going to create a test environment from scratch, then we are going to deploy it. Okay, now the thing comes that if we are going to repeatedly do this process, then obviously it makes sense that this should be automated, right? Because we would continuously be needing the virtual machines. And that's where the vagrant comes into the picture. Okay. So if you try to directly use the virtual box, you would see that it takes some time. Like it's a GUI based product. So you will have to assign the IP address, provide the disk information, type of operating system you want to install, boot it, get a UI, then connect through it. So that's somewhat it takes time, right? It's not a very like an automated way of doing the things, and you will see that it's much more easier to use the Vagrant. Now, what is a Vagrant? Vagrant has been developed by HashiCorp. That's a company name which has developed the Vagrant. And Vagrant is basically a wrapper, you can think of it like that, okay, which interacts with the VirtualBox. So it kind of sits between a user and a VirtualBox, and using the Vagrant, you can interact with the VirtualBox. It comes with a predefined template. That's a Vagrant file. So Vagrant reads a Vagrant file, okay, and using that Vagrant file, it's able to automatically provision your virtual machines for you. Okay, so within the Vagrant file, you are going to define how much RAM you need, how much memory you need, which operating system you want to run, which of the ports you want to forward. What is port forwarding? We are going to discuss that shortly. Okay, but it also facilitates the port forwarding. Then Vagrant also allows you to run the arbitrary commands, like let's say when a VM comes up, we want a certain command to be executed on the virtual machine directly, so that that virtual machine is ready for our use. Okay, so Vagrant can do that as well. Okay, and you will see that there is only a single command. Once you have configured everything, there is only a single command, that is Vagrant up. Okay, and nothing else. You just run that command and your virtual machine is ready. Now you can use it. You don't need to go, sign up somewhere or do anything else, or even like run the Linux or things like that on your laptop. You can continue using Vagrant to spin as many instances as you want. Okay. All right. So Abhilash is asking, hi Angela, I'm using my office laptop. So if I install the software, will be no problem to my lobby, right? So, Abhilash, there won't be any problems due to this software. Okay, that's just an hypervisor. So we are creating everything in isolation. If you remember the type 2 hypervisor, okay, that won't affect your base operating system. The other thing is, I'm not sure about your office policies, whether it's allowed to install the software or not, that you have to check. Okay, but these softwares are not going to affect any of the host operating system whatsoever. Okay. So Tofik is asking 4 GB RAM is enough in laptop. Tofik, yeah, you can see if you are having a 4 GB RAM, then you can allocate 1 GB of RAM to each virtual machine that we create. So at least you would be able to run at least two virtual machines with 1 GB RAM. Okay. Anyone else having any questions? All right, so let's move ahead. So coming down to the vagrant, okay, now we know that Bala has a question. Will we be using Mobaxterm for SSH and then other commands? Yeah. So Bala, there are like number of these software like where basically SSH clients you say them, okay, like there is item, Mobaxterm, and so many others, right? What we are going to do is we are going to keep it simple and we are going to use the putty. Okay, that's one of the earliest one. Okay, and it's quite simple. You would see most of the people use that, but then there are so many SSH client. You can use any one of them if you already know them. Otherwise we are going to cover the putty. We are going to use the putty to connect to the servers over the Windows. Okay. Okay, so Pratik is asking, have you already installed both the software as I have just joined? Might give missed. No, Pratik, we haven't installed. We have just downloaded the binaries, okay, because they are somewhat bigger in size, so that it doesn't take time when we are performing the lab. Arun is asking, can we start installing Vagrant and VirtualBox, or you will guide us? So Arun, you can see that's just an EXE. So I will tell you when to install when we start the lab session. For now, let's understand what is Vagrant, how Vagrant works, okay, and how we are going to use it. Because installation, believe me, there is nothing in installation. You just need to have run the .exe file and it will show you an installer. Just click next, 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 and it will get installed. There is nothing in the installation part, okay, but how to use the Vagrant, that's really important to understand. Sanjay is asking how to confirm whether the Vagrant has been downloaded successfully. Okay, so just a second. How the Vagrant has been downloaded successfully? I do not see any pop-up after I downloaded it. So Sanjay, the download starts at the bottom of, if you are using Chrome, you can see in the bottom it would start the download, right? And if your pop-up or something is blocked, then it will not show. So we are just downloading it. Open your downloads folder, okay, in the Windows, and you can confirm whether it has downloaded or not. If it's having the issue, then it will report down to you, okay, during the installation part, if the complete download hasn't taken place. Bala, you can use the mobile term. That's not an issue. Okay. Sridhar is having post installation of Vagrant asking to restart to use it. Sridhar, yeah, you will have to restart post the Vagrant installation. Okay, so just wait on for some time. I will give everyone the time to install the Vagrant and VirtualBox. For now, let's continue with our session because we still haven't covered the Vagrant yet. Okay, and then after once we start with the lab, then you can take your time and restart it because I'm going to give everyone the time to install the Vagrant and VirtualBox. Once everyone has installed, then we are going to move ahead. Okay, during the lab. For now, forget about the Vagrant and VirtualBox. Let's focus on the understand what's happening in Vagrant. Okay, why we are using the Vagrant, what problem does it solve? Okay, and how it works. All right, so let's continue with the Vagrant. Okay, so for now, we understand that Vagrant basically act as an hypervisor. It allows us to create the virtual machines, and we can spin the virtual machines over our existing operating system. So we can use the Vagrant to create the virtual machines directly using the VirtualBox on our laptop without affecting the host operating system. Okay, now Vagrant in the backend, Vagrant is using, you can use VirtualBox, you can use KVM as well as VMware. So any of the backend hypervisor you can use, okay, and you can create the virtual machines over them as well using the KVM and VMware as well. Now, once this has been done, okay, then there are configuration management tools. We haven't started with the configuration management tools yet, but it's possible that you can run the configuration management tool inside that. Okay, and not only the configuration management tool, we are going to install the containers, Kubernetes, everything inside these Vagrant machines only. Okay, so whatever lab environment that we need, we are going to spin up using the Vagrant itself. So everything that we are going to perform would be using the Vagrant. So we are going to use all the virtual machines that have been created by Vagrant. Okay, but that's not a limitation for you. If you are somewhat know about the AWS and you are proficient in that, go ahead and use the virtual machines over the cloud, because the tools that we are going to cover, everything in DevOps that we are covering, nothing is dependent upon any of the virtual machine. It can be run anywhere within your laptop or cloud or in your servers. Anywhere that you want to run, you can run this. Okay, it will work similarly everywhere. So but we are, I would suggest to stick to Vagrant because it's really simple to, because we just need a virtual machine, right? We are not concerned about AWS or anything else. What we are concerned is about the technologies which comes under the DevOps and how they are used. Okay. Another thing is, let's continue with the Vagrant. Okay, guys, just a second. I think. uh, all right. So we already know that we can now Vagrant allows you to create using the Vagrant you can allocate the separate IP address. Now what does this mean is each virtual machine that we are going to create using the Vagrant will be assigned a separate IP address, host names, port forwarding, and memory. So while all of these things would be like pretty much understood, that we are going to have the different IP addresses, host names through which we can resolve to IP addresses, and the memory part that we can allocate to the virtual machine. Another important thing to understand is the port forwarding. Okay, so what's port forwarding? So Tawfiq is saying, can we use the type 2 and type 1 hypervisors? If you try to use the type 1 hypervisor, Tawfiq, then you will have to format your laptop. And you will have to have a like ESXi server. Okay, so forget about the type 1 hypervisor. No one is using the type 1 hypervisors for now. Only the data center people need to use it. And the DevOps is least concerned how the virtual machines are created. That part is not under the DevOps. Okay, that's something you can say to like system administrators are performing, or data center people are performing, or some cloud or people are providing, right? It Virtual machines are really easy to create. Okay, so don't worry about the type 2. We are just including this because we need the virtual machines to run our softwares, okay, run our tools and understand the DevOps practices. So let's focus on that. Okay, let's not focus on how to create the virtual machines. And I don't think that anyone wants to format their host operating system, because everyone is having so much data on it, so you will lose out all that data. type 1 hypervisors don't run your simple commands. Okay, they are having just the special commands to create the VMs, and you don't want to just go on creating the VMs on your laptop, right? No, Soham. Vagrant and Docker are not same. Okay, Vagrant and Docker are completely different. When we come down to Docker, then I will explain you how the Docker differs from the Vagrant. Okay. All right. So let's continue. All right. So if we talk about a host, okay. So let's understand it from here. This is our host. Okay. This is basically our Windows laptop. Okay. Now we have, let's say, created a virtual machine using the Vagrant. Okay. Inside this host. Okay. This is our virtual machine. Now, if we let's say we are running a Chrome, okay, or we are running basically a browser, okay, and we want to connect with this virtual machine. So how do you connect to this virtual machine from your browser? Okay, because this browser is running on the host Windows machine that you are using. So if I have to, there would be multiple things, multiple times when you will have to send out a request to your virtual machine. Okay, like whenever we are going to access any of the dashboards, let's say we are going to open a Puppet dashboard. Okay, so Puppet provides you with this GUI interface. Okay, but the Puppet would be running inside the virtual machine, let's say here. Okay, so if we want to access the Puppet dashboard, then the request should go to here, okay, on this virtual machine that we are having, while the browser is running in the Windows. Okay, so what port forwarding allows is, so Soham says fully qualified domain name with the port number. That's right, Soham. But the thing is, whenever you create a fully qualified domain name and forwards it to a port, okay, then uh, that we are right now not having the DNS, so we are going to use the etc host file. The only thing is that you can't directly, browser really don't forward this to the virtual machine. What it needs to do is, we are going, see, what port forwarding does is this browser actually sends a request to this Windows operating system. Okay, and let's say this is on port 880. Okay, let's say this is a web request, so it's coming on port 80. Okay, now, but we are not running the Nginx or Puppet over here in the Windows. Okay, so what Vagrant does is it can forward this port 80 to inside this VM. Okay, so any request which is received on the host operating system on the port 80 would actually be forwarded inside the virtual machine, and that virtual machine is going to revert back. This is how your request will be served, okay, to your browser, like that. So everyone understands this. Vagrant allows you to configure the port forwarding, in which case the request would be forwarded to the host operating system when the host operating system receives the request on a particular port which is being forwarded. So it will send the request from the host operating system to the virtual machine, and then the virtual machine will serve that request. Okay, daemon is running there, and it will revert back the request to the browser that through which we were trying to access. Somewhat like that, Pratik. Okay, so this port forwarding will come into picture when we are configuring the Puppet or trying to open any UI or things like that, when we are requesting access from the uh, trying to load something in the browser. Rest of the times when we are communicating between the virtual machines, then we don't need this. Anything which we are opening from the browser, at that time we need the port forwarding to be enabled. Okay, I hope this is clear to everyone. Vishal is having a question. Will port forwarding work only when the VM is running, or do we need to roll back something once we are done with the VM use? See, Vishal, port forwarding will only work till the VM is running. Okay, once you stop down the VM, okay, the port forwarding will automatically stop because that virtual machine, Vagrant has configured that virtual machine like that. Okay, to forward the port. Now, when the virtual machine is not running, the port forwarding is also not running. Yes, Pratik, you will need to do the config and setting for enabling the port forwarding that we are going to discuss shortly, how to do it practically. Okay. But for now, just try to understand what is port forwarding and why you would be needing the port forwarding. All right. Another thing that I wanted to discuss with you is the pre-made images. Okay. So just like if some of you have worked on AWS or any of the other providers, in today's world, okay, no one is actually wasting any of their time to install the operating system. Previously, what was done was that a CD was inserted, then a Linux operating system was boot up, and things like that. But now, okay, what's happening is there are pre-built images from which you can create the virtual machines. Okay, so your operating system, what is an image? You can think of an image as a froze in time, okay, state of an virtual machine which is already created, so you can use that frozen time and run that, and your virtual machine would be ready to use. Okay, you don't have to install the operating system or things like that again and again. Okay, you can directly use that image and create your virtual machine. It's like a blueprint for that. Okay, so if we talk about Vagrant, then Vagrant basically uses the VBox. That's a box images, okay, from the Vagrant cloud it uses. So let me just show you. If we talk about the Vagrant cloud, okay. So if you come down to Vagrant cloud, there are these VBox images that the Vagrant uses, okay, and you can download any of these VBox images. Okay, I'm going to show you how we are going to download the CentOS 7, this one. Okay, so I will show you how to download it, but you need to understand that this VBox images which is available on the Vagrant cloud. Okay, this is being used to create the virtual machines. Now, when we first time run the Vagrant, okay, so what happens? It checks for this VBox image in your local laptop. Okay, so it will check locally that this VBox images are present. Okay, so if we wanted to create a CentOS operating system virtual machine, so the image for the CentOS operating system should already be there. Okay, now, if the if Vagrant is not able to find that VBox image on your local laptop, then it will automatically download that image from Vagrant Cloud onto your local laptop. Okay, that will take some time for the first time that you create your virtual machine. It will take some time unless and until that image has been downloaded and a virtual machine has been created out of it. It will uh, it will not move ahead. Okay, but then after that, whatever times you use the Vagrant to create the virtual machine, it will directly use that image to create as many virtual machines as you like, and it will not download that again. That's because it has now downloaded and saved that image file on your laptop, and it knows that whenever you call it, it will check locally. Every time it check locally, it will find that image on your laptop. Okay, so it will use that to create the virtual machine. and your time to spin up the virtual machine gets reduced. Okay, so everyone clear about this? So Bala is asking for some diagram. So Bala, if I show you what happens is, let's say this is your Vagrant cloud. Okay, this is your Vagrant cloud, which is being managed by the Vagrant itself. Now, whenever this is your physical machine, okay, and you are running the virtual machines here. So you can run n number of virtual machines. Now we are having these are the virtual machines, and we are running the Vagrant inside them. Okay. Now, whenever first time you are going to raise a request for, let's say, we try to install the CentOS. Okay. Now, whenever we try to install the CentOS, it will check locally. But very first time, it's not going to find the virtual machine on this host. Okay. In order to create this virtual machine, it will check locally, but it will never find this CentOS image. So what it does, it will go to this Vagrant cloud, okay, automatically. First, it will check locally, it will not found it. Then it will go to the Vagrant cloud, automatically download on this host, okay, the CentOS based VBox image. This VBox stands for Vagrant box. Okay. Once it has this CentOS VBox image, so it will go on creating this virtual machine, then this one and this one, right? So now, whenever you create a virtual machine, every time it will be able to create a virtual machine from the CentOS VBox. Okay. And not only CentOS VBox, you can specify any of the operating system like that. You can run Ubuntu or Debian or whatever you want to run. Okay. And then every time you run it, it will use that to create a virtual machine for you. Okay. So I hope that's clear to everyone now. Anyone having any questions from this one? Sanjay, CentOS VBox will be the virtual. CentOS VBox is just an image. Okay, we are using that image to create a virtual machine, and that virtual machine is going to run on the host. Okay, so if you want to create a virtual machine, you need these VBox images. Unless and until you are having these VBox images with you, okay, you can't create any virtual machine. So you can think of it as a blueprint to create a virtual machine. All right, so let's remove this. Okay, so I hope this image part is clear to everyone. Okay, all right. Another thing is VBox allows you to have the multiple networks. Now, what does this mean? See, whenever you are working with the virtual machines, so what you can do is it automatically assigns them a range of 10. Okay, that's a private IP range. So it attaches a network card. Okay, now what we already know about the network card, whenever we have to try to connect any network, then we will attach a network card, and an IP address would be assigned to it by the ISP provider, and then the communication will flow through it. Now, if I wanted to use, okay, let's say I wanted to use something like 192.168 range. Okay, like this. So uh, what Vagrant will do is it will create a virtual, okay, it will basically create a virtual network card, okay, through which I can assign any of the IP address to my virtual machine that I want. Okay, I will show you how you can assign the IP address to your virtual machines, but it's able to create a virtual network card through which it's able to assign a virtual IP address, and there will be a bridge networking. Okay, so uh, that's more often like a networking concept, but for you, you can understand like if you are having a host, okay, and then a virtual machine, then you can use it. You can use the bridge networking. Let's say this is your host machine, okay. This is your host machine. This is your virtual machine, okay. Now, if they both want to interact with each other, so what bridge networking do is it will create a bridge between both of them, okay. And using that, the host machine can communicate with the virtual machine, okay. And that's how we are going to access the virtual machine, okay. This is just an understanding that from your host you would be able to access your virtual machine. But let's say I try to access from some other, over the internet from my office. I try to access my virtual machine, then I won't be able to access that. Why? Because this there is a bridge being created from my host to my virtual machine. So my host can only access my virtual machine. But if I tried to from a remote location try to connect to this virtual machine, that will not work. Okay. So that's the like the network part. Okay. So you can assign multiple IP address, and so Janesh, if you have joined late, then you will have to go through the recording. Okay, we are recording the session, so you can go back with the recording and relearn like whatever we have covered till now. All right, and I would request everyone to join on time, because guys, if we try to repeat everything, then a full hour would be wasted again. Okay. And we are providing the recording so you can go through it. Now, another thing is Vagrant uses the Vagrant files. Okay, so you can use this Vagrant file to hold all your configuration. Okay, and Vagrant will read from it. So whatever we want to provide, we are going to provide inside the Vagrant file. Now, because this is a file, okay, so we can install, use it inside our source control. Now, what is source control? We are going to learn after the we are going to learn this after the we learn the Vagrant. Okay, but for now you can think of it like whenever you do any change, so it will create a version of it like this. Okay, so first version would be when you initially create, it would be version 1. Then it tracks the changes like 1.1, then it tracks the further changes 1.2. Okay, and if you want that at 1.2 you made some changes, it's not working, so you can remove this and come back to version 1.1 and things would be working for you. Okay, so we are going to use the git, but for now we haven't actually covered the version control for you. So that's just an understanding, like version control is used to record the changes. If something breaks, then you can come to the previous version of it. Okay, we are going to cover that in more detail, then it will become more clear to you why it's important to version everything, okay, that we do. Because If we try to roll back, then it would be really difficult, and there are a lot of advantages of version control system. Okay. All right. And another thing is, you can run the various platforms. So you can run on Windows, you can run like Linux, and within the Linux, you can run both Red Hat and Debian-based systems on your any of the operating system. Like it runs on Mac, Windows, and uh, Linux as well. Okay. So I hope these all major things are cleared about the Vagrant to everyone. Anyone having any questions still here? All right, so let's move ahead. So if we talk about the Vagrant, what's the actual use case? See, whenever the Vagrant is widely used for creating the test environment. So if we talk about the developers, they can create a disposable environment where they can download all their dependencies and basically create a test environment and test their applications into it. And once done, they can destroy it, or they can create an image out of it and then share with the other developers, so that they are again able to use those VBox images that the another person from their team has shared, and then they will have all the binaries and dependencies inside that VBox image, and they would be able to use it. That's for the developers. If we talk about the DevOps engineers or the operations engineers, then Vagrant allows them to create a disposable testing environment on the fly. So if you have written any of your automation using any of the configuration management tools like Ansible, Salt, Chef, Puppet, okay, then or you are running some container or trying to build a Kubernetes or doing some monitoring stuff, then you can test those configurations and set up first in your virtual machines created through Vagrant. Okay, and once you are sure that everything is working, then you can go ahead and do it, implement in your production environments. And for the designers, okay, so they can basically use again to create everything, their source code, etc., inside the virtual machine and then test it out there. So basically we see that Vagrant allows you to create the virtual machines on demand, and it can create a test environment for you automatically so that you can continue using it. Okay. So what are the alternatives to Vagrant? If we look down to the alternatives, like similar to the Vagrant, not exactly the same way, but the purpose can be the same. Okay, so we can use the Docker. Now, what is the main difference between the Vagrant and Docker? While the Vagrant uses the complete binaries and libraries for the operating system and installs the complete operating system, Docker only installs the libraries and binaries which are required by the application. Okay, but we are going to cover that when we cover the Docker after the Git. Okay, that's our source control management tool or version control system. So at that point, we are going to cover more about the Docker. Okay, then we can use the Kubernetes. Again, the Kubernetes runs the Docker container. Then there is Nanobox, Apache Mesos, Word managers, Stacker, Singularity containers, Fake, FreeBSD jails, Box Grinder, Arcos, Data Call, and Flash. So you can use any of these uh, uh, alternatives as well to achieve what we are trying to achieve through Vagrant. But Vagrant is most widely used. Okay, so we are going to cover the Vagrant, and it's really easy. So that's another thing. So we are going to use the Vagrant due to these reasons. Uh, all right, so uh, using the Vagrant, you can install Debian, Windows, CentOS, Linux, Mac OS X, Arch Linux. So all the major operating system out there, you can install through the Vagrant itself. Okay, so we already downloaded the software from the Vagrant app and the VirtualBox. Now, uh, one more diagram I want to show you is like, let's say this is a user. Okay, so and this is a VirtualBox. Okay, now VirtualBox is the hypervisor, okay, which is actually creating the virtual machines. Okay, so you can think of it like it's it's actually creating the virtual machines, this VirtualBox. Okay, but a user is not going to directly interact with it. Okay, that's not the right way. So what happens is there is a vagrant in between the user and the virtual box. So user interacts with this vagrant, and this vagrant interacts this virtual box. Why this is being done? See, uh, virtual box is provides you with a GUI, so it can't be automated. Okay, vagrant provides you just with a vagrant file, so you just write everything over there and run the vagrant up, and everything would be automated. You don't have to open the virtual box. Okay, so it's really comfortable you going through the vagrant and interacting with the virtual box to create the virtual machines. Okay, we are going to perform the lab shortly, then it will become more clear to you why I am saying that you have to go this path. Okay. All right, so how we are going to start? We are going to create a directory for our vagrant. Okay, run the vagrant in it to initialize the vagrant directory. Once you run the vagrant in it, vagrant is going to create a vagrant file. Whenever the vagrant creates a vagrant file, you can specify all the configurations inside it. What types of configuration do you specify? Like what operating system do you want? And then if you want to forward any port or not. Okay, inside the virtual machine. And then you also specify the how much memory do you want, how much ram do you want, or how much ram you want to allocate to your virtual machine, how many CPUs you want to allocate to your virtual machines. Okay, only this information is required inside the vagrant file, and that's it. Then you can go ahead and run the vagrant up. Okay, and that will bring up your virtual machine. Okay, and then we are going to use the virtual machine for further uh, learning. Okay, and creating the test environments. So let's perform the lab session now. Okay, so let me open my lab session. So anyone having any questions from the vagrant can ask now. All right, so there we go. Okay, so that's VirtualBox was already downloaded. Now, if everyone has downloaded the VirtualBox and the Vagrant, okay, so first thing that you need to do is you will have to install the VirtualBox first, okay, because VirtualBox is a dependency for Vagrant. So first of all, install the VirtualBox. Now, VirtualBox installation is really simple. Okay, you don't have to do much. Just open the installer and run it, and just click on next, and uh, that will install the VirtualBox for you. Okay, here is the installer. Just click next. Okay, and it will automatically create all these shortcuts for you. Okay, click next, and that's it. So if I click the yes, then it will automatically going to install the virtual box on my laptop. Okay, but right now I already have the virtual box installed, so I'm not going to install again. Okay, that's for you. So go ahead and click on yes and install the virtual box. Okay, once you have installed the virtual box, similarly you can open the vagrant, and within the vagrant just install the vagrant as well. Okay, clicking next, that's it. So the VirtualBox and Vagrant are going to be installed. Now, once you install the Vagrant, okay, then it will ask you to restart your laptop. Okay, so we are waiting for 15 minutes for everyone to complete this activity. Okay, after like 10 to 15 minutes, we are going to continue on how to use the Vagrant to create the virtual machines. Okay, so I would ask everyone to quickly go ahead and install the Vagrant and VirtualBox right now. Okay, then we are going to look ahead how we can move forward with the virtual machines. Okay, anyone having any questions? Samiksha has a question. You said Vagrant gets VBox automatically. Okay. So why do we have to install it separately? No, Samiksha, see, Vagrant is a way of communicating with the VirtualBox. Okay. But it requires the VirtualBox on your system, then only it's able to control it. If so, you will have to first install the VirtualBox and then the Vagrant, and then Vagrant will control the VirtualBox for you. Okay, it doesn't come with the VirtualBox. VirtualBox is a separate product from the Oracle, and Vagrant is from HashiCorp. That's created just for the automation for VirtualBox and to create the virtual machines easily. Nupur is saying showing changes in your device pop-up box. Yes or no? See, mine one get automatically downloaded if it's showing a pop-up box, okay, asking you to run, give the permissions. So just accept those because Vagrant and VirtualBox both are like the safe sites. There are no security issues with them. Yes, Nupur, you can click on yes. There is no issue with that. Okay. Both are secure, both are very big companies. Okay, a lot of softwares are there, so don't worry, there won't be any security issue. If I Samiksha is having a question, if I use Vagrant file on any machine, then VBox needs to be there. Yes, Samiksha, if you use Vagrant file, then or because whenever you create a virtual machine, okay, it needs this image file, it needs a blueprint how to create the virtual machine. That is your image file, that is your VBox image. It will automatically download from the Vagrant cloud. So you need to have an internet connectivity for that to run, or have a VBox image locally on your laptop. If you have locally, then it will not connect to internet and create a virtual machine out of it. Okay. Otherwise, it will download it and then create a virtual machine. Seema is saying I install the Vagrant and then click the VirtualBox. So do I need to install and install back? No, Seema, it's completely fine. Okay. If you would have tried to use the Vagrant first, then it would have resulted in an error because it won't have been able to find the VirtualBox. But that's completely fine. You don't uninstall and reinstall. It's fine. It will work. Okay. Vishal is asking maybe a repetitive question, but why are we installing and why do we need Vagrant in case we work with the virtual box directly as well? Vishal, it depends only on the automation. Okay, so like you just want to run one command to create a virtual machine every time that you require a virtual machine, or you want to do like so many configuration input inside the virtual box and then create. Okay, so as I told you already, see, it's all about the automation. We want the minimum number of steps to be performed to get a virtual machine. Getting a virtual machine should be easy enough that we just run Vagrant up and that's it. Okay, we don't have to provide like go in the virtual box and click everything, right? We don't want it to be complicated like that. That's why we are using the Vagrant. Okay, so Sanjay Singh, I'm seeing the Oracle VM VirtualBox Manager pop-up window after I install VirtualBox. Sanjay, so is there any issue like once the VirtualBox installs, then it opens for you to use the VirtualBox, but we are going to interact through Vagrant, so you don't have to worry about the VirtualBox. Okay, You won't even have to open the VirtualBox. Vagrant will automatically interact with it. Okay, yeah, Sridhar, go ahead and restart your machine. Okay, we are waiting here, so no problem. You can join back again. Everyone, once you have like installed the virtual machine and it's asking for a restart, do it now, okay, and join back. Okay, we are still having like 10 minutes before we proceed ahead to create the virtual machine. Okay, so just restart it. Don't worry, we are not starting yet. Okay, we will wait for everyone to complete this activity. Anyone having any questions can ask, let me know in the chat window. Okay. After 10 minutes, we are going to use the Vagrant to create a virtual machine. Till the time, I hope everyone gets get it installed on their PC. Okay. So Bala, once you have done this, okay, it will not open any, it will not show you any icon or thing like that. Okay, it's basically a command line. So I will show you how you can use the Vagrant. Okay, but it doesn't come with the GUI. That's why you are not able to see any Vagrant icon. It's entirely command line. So everyone note that whenever you are working with a tool which is working through GUI, okay, that is your graphical user interface inside a browser, or they are having their own applet on which you are trying to interact with them, okay, then it's a manual process. Okay, although it may seem to you convenient for now that it's having this GUI and you can click on it, but opening that GUI, clicking on them, providing the configuration information, that's all a manual process. Okay, if I ask you create 500 machines like that, okay, it will be a tough job. You will go on clicking, and then it's possible that you might change some configuration, so it's not a very good way of doing it. What uh, as in DevOps, you should focus more towards the command line. Okay, don't go for the GUI because if we talk about DevOps, okay, they will create these Vagrant file and just run the Vagrant up, and all the VMs will come up automatically. That's it. Okay, so always use the command line. Don't use the GUI because it might not be available for you in your when you work for any of the companies, because normally GUIs are normally blocked. Anyone still remaining to install the Vagrant or the VirtualBox? Okay, go ahead, Soham. Just install it and let us know. Then we are going to move ahead. No, Sridhar, you don't missed anything. Okay, we are still waiting for everyone to just complete it. So we are going to wait for the next 5 minutes. Yeah, Pratik, go ahead and restart it. Okay. Everyone, kindly speed up your installation because we are waiting for 5 more minutes and then we are going to continue on the virtual machine creation. Okay. This is the command prompt, okay, that we are going to work on. All right, 4 minutes to go. Everyone, please do it fast. Okay, we are going to start with the virtual machine configuration like in next 4 minutes. So everyone, just speed this up. Okay. Yeah, Pratik, vagrant does take some time. Okay, so don't worry, it will get completed. No topic. You don't have to download the CentOS manually. Okay, and in fact, you don't have to download it anything like from the CentOS part. We are just going to mention the name, and rest of the thing Vagrant will do it automatically. Okay, uh, everything Vagrant will figure out itself. You don't have to do anything. Okay, yeah, Onkar, you won't be able to find the Vagrant. Vagrant is a command line tool. Okay, so as I showed you, if you see my Windows, okay, there is a command line that's a Windows command line. Okay, so Vagrant will be available there. Okay, you won't be able to see any icon or anything. Okay, so Prasad, once you have installed the Vagrant and virtual machine on Mac, okay, so I will show you. You just open the terminal in the Mac, okay, and over the command line you can start interacting back, okay. So Sanjay, you just need to install the Vagrant and VirtualBox. Nothing you have missed right now, okay. Or Vishal, you don't have to see the Vagrant terminal. I'm just talking about the normal terminal, okay, which comes with the Mac for running the command line. There is no special terminal for Vagrant like that. Okay. Just search for terminal in the search window over the Mac, and that will open a terminal. Terminal. It will show you a terminal where you can execute the command line. All right. Everyone, so is has everyone been able to install the Vagrant and VirtualBox? Should we continue now? Okay, so I see most of you have done it. All right, so let's continue now. Okay, next thing, create a folder where you are going to create the virtual machines. Okay, so that folder, you can create any folder in your Windows. Okay, and that folder, arrange it like in such a way that you are easily able to identify the virtual machines that you are going to create. Okay, so if you see mine, I have created for 2019 February, and the hours is a morning batch. Okay, so I have created a folder structure like that, but you can directly create any of the folder structure. You don't have to be that much specific. That's for my understanding, how I am able to understand it. Okay, so you can create a folder like virtual machine CentOS, like that. That's it, that you are creating a CentOS virtual machine, so it's understood to you. Okay, so you don't have to do too much of the configuration there. So just create a folder like this. Okay, so here is it. If you see, that's a morning batch. We are in the morning batch, and in this one we are going to create a CentOS. So you can directly specify a virtual machine, create a CentOS, because we are going to create the CentOS machines. And then we are going, you can specify this as VM1. Okay, so here is our VM1. So I'm going to create a virtual machine inside this virtual VM1. Okay, I can now, for opening this command line in the Windows. Okay, you will have, okay, so Samiksha, we are saying that just you have to create a folder. Okay, for where you are going to run your virtual machine. Okay, so you can create a folder like C. Inside the C drive, create a folder like virtual machine. Inside that virtual machine, create a folder CentOS. Okay, and then VM1, like this. So we have created a folder like CentOS. Inside the CentOS, create a folder like VM1, like that. Okay, another thing, whosoever is working on the Windows, if you want to open this command prompt, then go to your search. Okay, inside the search you will run CMD. Okay, and or you can go inside run and do CMD. Okay, that will open your command prompt, and you will have to work on the command prompt only. Okay, Nitishi, you can work on D drive as well. It's completely fine. I just want everyone to create a folder. That's it for now. And on the command line, you have to go inside that folder on the command line, not in the like the from the folder options, like not like this. Okay, you can create a folder from here, but on the command line you have to go inside that folder, like I am here. Okay, so you see my complete path is this. So you can take from here, just from the CentOS part, create a virtual machine folder inside that CentOS, and then VM1. That's it. You don't have to provide this long path. Everyone able to do it? Sridhar says yes. Anyone facing any difficulties? Yeah, Vishal, that's completely fine on the Mac. Okay. Prasad says no. Prasad, so if you see this, you would there is a search bar. Okay, in the search I am basically searching for a CMD. Okay, it says command prompt, so you can just click on it and the command prompt would be open. And then you can go inside this using the cd option like that. Okay, mention the complete path of your folder, and that's it, you can go inside it. Yeah, Bala, that's fine. Okay. All right, so once you are inside the folder, okay, just run vagrant init. Okay, you just have to run the vagrant init, that's it. Run the vagrant init command. So it says that it has created a vagrant file. Okay. So once you run the vagrant init inside the folder, you will see the vagrant will create a vagrant init file. Okay. That is what we require to create our virtual machines. Okay. So once you have done this, you can go back to your folder. Okay. You will see a vagrant file over here like that. You see this? This is your vagrant file, which the vagrant init command has created for you. Now you can right click on this vagrant file and click on open with, okay, and then select the notepad to open this vagrant file. So this vagrant file will open now, okay. Here is the vagrant file. Sure, I'm waiting everyone. Let me know once everyone is able to run the vagrant in it and open the vagrant file. All right, so whatever configuration, okay, whatever things that we want to do with our virtual machine, okay, everything is inside this file, okay. You don't have to do anything else. Just create this file, okay. You will enter everything inside this file only, okay. And then Vagrant will use this file to create the virtual machine for you. It's like it will take all the inputs inside this file, read this file to create the virtual machine for you, okay. All right, so the very first configuration that you have to do is like specify from which VBox image, okay, you are going to create the virtual machine. Okay, so how do you get the VBox image? See, you have to go on Vagrant Cloud, just search for like Vagrant Cloud. Okay, here are the Vagrant boxes. Okay, Nupur, did you run the Vagrant init command? Okay, once you run the Vagrant init command, that file will come inside that folder where you run the Vagrant init. So just run the Vagrant init and a Vagrant file will be placed by the Vagrant inside that folder. All right. So see the now these are all the images which you can use inside your Vagrant. Okay. So in our case, we are going to use this one. Bento. If we search this, so you see, this is a Bento CentOS 7. We are going to use the 7.5. this one. Okay, so you see, we are going to use. Nupur, can you tell me when you run the Vagrant in it, what's the output? Can you paste here in the chat window? Whatever you are getting on screen after running the Vagrant in it, just paste it inside the chat window so I can have a look. So, Nupur, you are running the spelling of init is having a mistake. You need to run vagrant init. It's ENTI you have run. It's ENIT. You have to run this. Okay? Run this. You have run this. So that's wrong. Okay? You have to run the vagrant init. Nupur, can you please do it again and let us know if it's able to run? Or you will have to search, Bala, just search for Vagrant Cloud or go to this URL. Let me paste it for you. Just search for Google, sorry, Vagrant Cloud in the Google, or you can directly go to this URL and search over there as well. It's up to you. Yes, you can click. See, I'm showing you. Okay, Sanjay. So once you click on it, okay, you will see how to use this. Okay, each virtual machines comes with the information how to use this. Okay, so if you see this, it says you have to specify. You can copy this down. Okay, and you will see the same configuration is available in your Vagrant file. If I open this, you will see the config.vm box. Okay, you will have to replace the base with this information. Bento slash CentOS 7.5. Okay, replace this one. So up till now we have specified that our Vagrant has to use this image. Okay, so VBox image we have provided. Vagrant will automatically download from the Vagrant cloud. Okay, and you can also, if you want, you can check how the port forwarding works. So you can uncomment this line. Okay, if I uncomment this line, uh, Pratik, you just have to, like, if you see this, you will have to run the Vagrant in it. Okay, so Pratik, you will have to create a folder where you are going to run your virtual machine. Okay, once inside your C drive or D drive, you can create a folder like virtual machine. Inside that CentOS and inside that VM1. Okay, create a folder like that. Then you will have to open a command line using the CMD, or you can go to run in the Windows and type the CMD. It will open a command prompt for you. Okay, once the command prompt has been opened, you have to go inside that directory and run the Vagrant in it. That will create a virtual file, Vagrant file for you, and then you will see something like this Vagrant file. Okay, inside that you will have to edit this config.pm box. Yes, Hari, you have to replace the base with the Bento CentOS 7.5. Yeah, you have to replace this with it. Okay. All right. Once you have done this, you will also have to enable the port forwarding. What this does is it says that on the host, if we receive any request on port 8080, that would be forwarded inside the virtual machine on port 80. Yeah, Pratik, I can show you the command. Okay. So what you have to do is you have to create a folder like this. Okay, so you don't have to create this big folder. What you can do is you can directly create a folder like virtual machine, CentOS, and VM1. Okay, inside your C drive or D drive. Once you have created this folder, okay, you have to go inside that folder. Like I'm inside that folder and I run the vagrant init. Okay, now once you run the vagrant init, it will create a vagrant file. You see, it says that the vagrant file has been placed, and then you can double click on that vagrant file and open it inside your notepad. We are inside the notepad right now. Okay, and then we are editing the configuration of that vagrant file which the vagrant init has placed. Okay, so you can quickly do that. I hope everyone here or till here it's clear to everyone how to do it. Let Pratik also do this and then we are going to move ahead. Pratik, let me know once you have done. We are waiting for you. Okay, and then we are going to move ahead. Yes, Vishal, you have to uncomment the port forwarding line. Okay. Okay, fine. Samisha, if you have changed the vm.box, which version of 7.5 we have to install? Bala, we are installing CentOS 7.5. That's the version. Okay. You don't have to do anything. You just have to specify that configuration. Vagrant will do everything automatically. Rest of the things it will do it automatically. Yeah, Samiksha, we have to do further configuration as well. We are waiting for the Pratik, okay, to reach to this point, and then we are going to move ahead. Yeah, so Sridhar, if you have to receive on port 80, let's say we are running an Nginx inside our uh, virtual machine, okay, and we want to get a request to it. So what we can do is we can receive a request on the host, that is our Windows operating system on port 8080. Once we receive the request on our Windows operating system on port 8080, it will automatically forward it inside the virtual machine on port 80, and then we can use it. Okay. Uh, Abhilash says, can we have this notepad? You want this file, Abhilash? This is the default file which is being created by the vagrant init. Yeah, I will paste down the configuration with you. Okay. So you can have this. I will share it after the session with you. Okay. Okay. Pratik is saying somehow I'm not able to reach to this directory on CMD. So Pratik, what does it says? Like the directory that you just created. Okay. So you can do the CD, use the CD command and the one directory at a time, and then you will be able to reach there. Reached. Okay. So once you have reached there, just run the vagrant init. Run this command. Okay. The port forwarding 80 forwards to 8080. No, Samiksha, you are receive it. The VM will be running on port 80. See, it says guest. Guest is the virtual machine that you created. Okay, you are going to create, and host is the base host operating system, Windows in our case. Okay. Okay. So Pratik says it's done. Okay. All right. So Pratik, just open that vagrant file using the notepad. Once you have opened it, just replace this line. Okay. This one, config.vmbox with the bentos slash centos 7.5 and uncomment this one line. Okay. These are the two changes that we have done till now. Or you can't change, Sanjay, you can't change any of the default configuration. See, if you try to replace the name of guest or something like that, then it will give you an error. Don't replace anything else. Guys, whatever changes that I am doing, just replace them. Otherwise, vagrant file will be corrupted and you won't be able to create any VM. It will result in an error. Okay, so Samiksha, yeah. See, what happens is on the port, we are saying that on our Windows laptop, forward the request on port 8080, and then the host, that is our Windows, will forward it to the virtual machine on port 80. Okay, so that request will automatically be served by the virtual machine. Okay, not our host operating system. Host will forward it to the virtual machine on port 80. Arunraj, we will just going to take a break. It's almost done. Okay. Sujit, we are having a recording for the session. You can see after the recording as well if your system was a bit slow. Okay. You can perform the lab again. If you have any difficulties, then you can let me know. We are going to record everyone. So anyone who is missing down right now, don't worry, guys. We are having a recording for it, so you can even see later. Okay. All right. So after that, another thing that we want to do is we want to assign our virtual machine an IP address. Okay. So we are going to assign, you can just uncomment this line, this one. Okay. You can uncomment this and then it will going to assign 33.10, or you can change it to any of the IP address. Let's make it 33.11 for now. Okay. So now we know the virtual machine that we are going to create is going to have an IP address of 192.168.33.11. That's it. Uh, Tulasiram, the thing is you can still see 32-bit and 64-bit. Guys, don't get confused inside that. What happens is 32-bit only works till laptop which are having 4 GB of RAM. Okay. So I would suggest you to download the 64-bit because all the modern like laptops are coming with that. So try running the 64-bit. It will also run on the 60 like the 4 GB till 4 GB as well. Okay, that shouldn't be an issue. Try running it, uh, and if you have any issues, then we will see for the 32-bit. Okay. Amitya, yeah, you can give any IP address, but it should be a correct one. Okay. Normally, we are going to use the 192 series only. Okay. So that's why I have given 192 series. Your screen is not able to see. Guys, are you able to see my screen? Manasi, what's the error you getting? Manasi, what error you are getting? See, everyone is able to see my screen. If you are not able to see, you might have to join back again. Training in progress. Try joining in again. All right, so once the IP address has been assigned, the last thing that we are going to do is to configure the amount of memory and the CPU that our virtual machine should have. Okay, so just uncomment this line. Okay, this one, config.vm.provider virtualbox do vb. Okay, you have to uncomment this line. So what you can do is just uncomment this, like just uncomment this. Okay, very first thing that you have to uncomment. Another thing is you have to uncomment how much memory you want to allocate. Okay, so by default it allocates 1 GB memory to your virtual machine. Now you can increase or decrease according to your requirement. Okay, so let me increase this on my laptop. So I am going to increase it to 2048, that is 2 GB. Okay, so I have increased this to 2 GB now. Another thing that I can do is I can specify here exactly down it. We can specify VB dot CPUs. So how many CPUs do you want to assign to it? Okay. So let's say I want to assign it 2 core. So I will say 2. Okay, like that. And lastly, I would like to uncomment this and as well. Okay, so I will uncomment this and that's it. Your configuration is done now. Pratik, you can go for 1 GB. Guys, don't, if you have RAM available, then only go for 2 GB. Otherwise, 1 GB is fine. And if you are even having lesser RAM, then you can reduce down to 512 as well. No issues. CentOS can run on the 512 MB RAM as well. Just that it would be slow. Okay, but it can run obviously on the 512 MB as well. All right, so everyone, all the changes have been done now. Okay, so click on file and save this file in your notepad. Just save this. So Sanjay, by CPUs we mean that we are having like I'm having a 16 core in my laptop. Okay, so I want out of those 16 core, 2 cores to always be provided to this virtual machine. Okay, this virtual machine won't be able to use more than 2 cores on my laptop. Okay, although there are 16 cores available, but I don't want it to use more than 2 cores. That's why I have specified 2 core. Okay, uh, so on card you can specify for the CPUs, you can just specify one CPU. Okay, no need to specify more than that. You can work on single core as well. It's up to you guys. Whatever configuration that you are having, create a virtual machine according to that. No need to create a very high-end virtual machine. As we have uncommented, and do we have something like start to uncomment? No, no, Pratik, nothing for the start. See, and basically is for this line. It ends this one, the loop that was being run, but you don't have to understand the coding part. Okay, so it's completely fine. It's basically ending the loop that is running. So it runs in a loop and then it ends. Okay, all right. So yes, Pratik, 1 GB, 2 CPUs will work fine together. You can create that. Okay. All right, everyone. So just save this Vagrant file now. Okay. And that's it. You are done now. Okay. Open your command prompt where you run the Vagrant in it initially and just run Vagrant up. That's it. Nothing else you need to do now. Vagrant will automatically take care of everything. Okay. And going to create a virtual machine for you. And because you have created a Vagrant file now, okay, so every time you want to create a virtual machine, you don't have to run the Vagrant init even. What you can do is, see, why we were running the Vagrant init? Because we wanted a Vagrant file. Now we already having a Vagrant file. So if we just copy and paste this Vagrant file, we can create n number of virtual machines. Whatever virtual machine we want to run, go to a folder, just paste this Vagrant file, change the IP address if you want, because see, IP address can't be same for the different virtual machine, and just run the Vagrant up. It will create a virtual machine. So as many virtual machines you want to create using Vagrant, just copy and paste it in the different folder, just run the Vagrant up. That's it, you are done. it will automatically create the virtual machine. So if you will see that it says it's importing the base box, that is Bento CentOS 7.5. You see, it's bringing up the virtual machine. Yeah, so Prasad, you haven't uncommented the and keyword. Okay, so uncomment the and. After the vb.cpus, there is an and. Just uncomment that and then run again. Then it will run. Uh, Sanjay, you haven't deleted the base. Before Bento slash CentOS 7.5, you have to delete that base. Delete the base and run again. Inside the vagrant file, delete this base. Okay, and then it will run. So Avinash, you will have to script that if you want to run the like multiple, or you want to run the multiple VMs in one go, then you will have to create, like, put the vagrant file, create a script which will change the directory. Okay, run a loop, for loop, and then go on creating the vagrant up in loop, and then it will create the virtual machines in bulk for you. Okay, but you need to have some knowledge of the bash scripting for that. Okay, then it will work. Yeah, I will show you the vagrant file, Arunraj, just a second, just a while. Okay, so let me show you the, here is the vagrant file that we created. Okay, so you can cross check it there. Everyone, whatever errors you are getting, just cross check, because there is some configuration problem in your vagrant file, that's why it's giving an error. Okay, and Onkar is getting an error. I'm getting message for PowerShell. So Onkar, Vagrant uses the PowerShell in Windows. Okay, so PowerShell needs to be like installed into the latest version. So you might have to upgrade your PowerShell if you are running a older version on of PowerShell. Okay, if you run Windows Update, then it should be able to fix that. Or you can Google it and upgrade your PowerShell version. So for Prasad, it's working. Bala is saying Vagrant failed to initialize at a very early stage. Yeah, so Sanjay, it's not able to find on your laptop. That's why it's going to download it from the Vagrant cloud. So it will download it automatically. Okay. You don't have to do anything. It's downloading right now. Okay. For Nupur, it's working. So Bala is getting a syntax error, unexpected keyword and. Okay. Okay, so Bala, you have to put an and. If you see, guys, make sure that you have uncommented this and. Okay, see, I have uncommented this. Make sure you have uncommented this one. For Bala, it's working now. Yeah, Pratik. See, because Bento CentOS 7.5 is not already on your laptop, you have first time downloaded it. Okay, that's why it's saying that it could not be found and attempting to find and install. That's a correct message. It's downloading it right now. Okay, so let it download. Okay, it will automatically bring it up. Manoj, just a second. Let me check what error you are getting. I believe, Manoj, in your case, the virtualization is not enabled in your laptop. Okay, that's why it's giving you that error. So just a second. So the thing is, Manoj, sorry, the Pratik. Uh, just a second, guys. Yeah, I was talking about Manoj. Manoj, so the thing is, the virtualization for your laptop is disabled right now. Okay. What you will have to do is you will have to enable it. So you will have to go to the control panel of your Windows laptop, go to the program features, and turn the Windows features on. Okay. So you will have to enable the virtualization before you can create a virtual machine. That's disabled in your uh, BIOS settings. Okay, that's why it's not allowing it to do it. So you will have to enable it. Just search for this, how to enable the in your BIOS. Okay, you will have to enable that virtualization before making this work. That's what the error is. I will show you guys how to connect to this VM. Just wait. Once this has been up, okay. So let me show you. You see, it has created this virtual machine. You should also get this virtual machine like this. I will show you how to connect to this virtual machine shortly. Let me just go through the issues that different that other people are facing. Okay, could not bento slash centos hyphen 7.5 could not be found or could not be accessed in remote catalog. So local issuer certificate. Okay, so the issue is regarding an SSL certificate in your case, Pratik. All right. So, Pratik, in order to resolve your issue, okay, you will have to first include this. Uh, there's an SSL issue coming in your case, so you can resolve this like this: vagrant box add, okay, hyphen insecure, okay, and then bento slash CentOS hyphen 7.5 like that. So this command is for Pratik. Okay, so just go ahead and run this command on your VM. What it will do is it will download it insecurely because your SSL certificate is having some issue. It's not your laptop is not accepting that. Okay, so you can download this box image and then run the vagrant. Once this command has completed, okay, then run the vagrant up again and your virtual machine would be up. Okay, what kind of choices it's asking? Pratik, just let me know what kind of choices it's asking. Okay, guys, I am checking one by one. Okay, so just a second. That was for the Pratik. Yeah, Sridhar. So dot vagrant folder is created. You are correct. So inside that .vagrant folder, it creates all the keys and all the configuration for the virtual machine. Okay. Once this has run, so that's completely fine. It creates a hidden folder inside it. Nityashri, if it's timed out, okay, during the SSH, like connecting to private key, this might happen, due to one or two times. So just run the vagrant up again, okay, and let me know if it failed or timed out again. Okay, just run the vagrant up again, or Nitishi, just first run the vagrant destroy. Okay, first run this command and then run vagrant up. In your case, in which the timeout is occurring. Samiksha, all the people who are getting the SSL related error, okay, you will have to add the box insecurely. So just run this command, okay, and then it will work for you. Just a second, let me answer the question, okay. Uh, all the people for whom the timeout issue is occurring, okay, so just run the vagrant destroy. This is the command, okay, and once it this that has been completed, run the vagrant up again, okay. All right, one by one. Who else is getting an error apart from the SSL? We have seen timeout. We have seen anyone else getting any other error from this one? Sujit, what error you are getting? So Samiksha, the command that I have shared with you to add insecurely, that basically downloads the virtual box like the VBox image on your laptop, and then when you run the vagrant up, okay, it uses that virtual box image. Okay, so it's not redundant, it's just that you are downloading the virtual box image first on your laptop, okay, and then doing it. When you run it from the vagrant file, it's like you are downloading at the same time and running as well. Okay. Tawfiq is saying the guest machine has entered invalid state. Tawfiq, this can happen sometime due to the resource constraint or something. So what you can do is just run the vagrant destroy. Okay, that will remove everything that the vagrant was previously doing, and then run the vagrant up again, and your virtual machine should start. Okay, so just run the vagrant destroy first and then run the vagrant up. Unexpected keyword and expecting and of input. So Sujit, have you like created the, just check for this part. Have you done it like this? Okay, I have selected it. So just go through that you have exactly the same configuration where I have uncommented it. You have also uncommented it and put on the keyword. If there is some extra and keyword, remove that. You might have, uncommented the and okay, over there. So just check this. It should exactly be same. Okay. Bala is saying booting VM command is taking long time to complete. Bala, mine one was completed as you would have seen that I was able to create within a matter of like 1 minute or 2 minutes. It might be that your laptop is not having enough of the RAM or CPU available, or you have assigned very less amount of RAM or CPU. That might be causing the issue. Pratik says Hyper parallels VirtualBox VMware desktop. Pratik, okay, this is giving you these info. Okay, so use the third one, that is the VirtualBox, because you are running on the VirtualBox. So run three over there. Okay, select three, the choice that you are getting. Third one you need to select, Pratik, over the choice that you are getting. So select the three in it. Anyone else having issues? Kindly let me know. Anyone else having any error? Sridhar says no issues. Sanjay, I think I'm getting SSL issue. Sanjay, if you are getting SSL issue, I have shared a command above, okay, where I'm using hyphen hyphen no secure vbox add. Okay, use that. Bala, it's fine if you are having 177 GB space available. Is there any space related error you are getting? Prasad says no issue. Nitishri shares same issue again, timed out. Nitishri, can you please paste what timeout issue is occurring? Can you please paste the entire output over here? Arun Raj says progress 39%. Yeah, Arun, so it depends upon your internet speed. Okay, so it will get completed. Don't worry. First time this will download. Next time it will automatically use it from your laptop only. Okay. So Samiksha, you might be having a slow internet connection. That's why it's showing you 2 hours to download. Okay. Nitishi, let me have a look what's happening on your laptop. You have try running again, Nitishi, and this happened again, right? Both the time it got timed out. You tried multiple times. Okay. Okay. So or tell me one thing, Nitishi, have you enabled the vb.gui equal to true? Have you uncommented that line as well? Have you uncommented this line, Nitishi? Okay. All right. So in your case, you might have to open Nitishi. In your case, you might want to do like this. Okay. Open the virtual box. Okay. In your laptop, go to the settings. Inside that, go to the network. Okay. And Inside that, make sure this cable connected is selected. Okay. Can you please check if this is there? Cable connected is selected or not? So select it and click OK. Select this, okay, and click OK, and then run the Vagrant up again in your system. Okay. Let me know if you still face any issue. Bala, just paste the output over here, what you are seeing. Yeah, Sujit. Guys, who else is getting the problem right now? Can I know how many people are having the issue? So you need to upgrade the PowerShell. Sujit, in your case, it requires version 3. Okay, you are running version 2. So just upgrade the PowerShell to version 3. Samiksha, that's for running the virtual box. See, by default, in most of the laptops, it's automatically selected. This is not something I have done specifically, okay? But due to some configuration issues or something like that, it might be missing. That's why we have selected, it should be selected, cable connected, okay? Sanjay, estimated time remaining 3+ hours. That's might be because your internet connection is slow, okay? So it will take time to download over the slow connection. Sorry, cable connected is selected already. Guys, the people who are getting the issue in the timeout, okay, you might have to check the, you might have to, restart your laptop, okay, over there, check the virtualization, okay, and you have to make sure that the Intel virtualization technology, Intel virtualization technology, okay. If you are using an Intel based laptop or AMD V, okay, that's an AMD based virtualization is enabled. If these two are not enabled in your laptop, okay, then you won't be able to use the virtualization to creating the virtual machine, because that's disabled in your BIOS. Okay, so you will have to reboot it inside your BIOS and check this. This would be available inside your advanced CPU configuration. Okay, you will see something like this: advanced CPU configuration or North Bridge. North Bridge is available in case of AMD. Okay, and there you will have to make sure that the Intel virtualization technology is enabled. Then you are going to get this issue removed. Okay, otherwise this will continue to happen. That's why you are getting timed out, because when it tries to boot inside that virtual machine, that's disabled in your BIOS. Okay, anyone else having any other issues or right now who are not able to create? See, the people for whom the internet connection is slow, but it's getting downloaded, that's fine. Okay. Onkar is saying he is not able to download the Windows PowerShell. So, what issue? Why are you not able to upgrade your PowerShell, Onkar? What error you are getting? See, guys, just give it a some Google, okay? Because PowerShell and all this is from the Windows. Normally, you will get an exe file that would upgrade everything for you, okay? Or even if you are having an licensed version of the Windows running, so go ahead and update your Windows. It will update all these dependencies. So Nikunja is getting another error now. Checking guest. So, Nikunja, didn't you change the configuration from default? So, if you will see this configuration, okay, over in the top, have you made this change? The config box, Bento CentOS 7.5, because I think you might be running the default over there. That's why it's giving you that error. You have to change the default to Bento slash 7OS 7.5. Samiksha, what issue did you face regarding it's still downloading for you, right? So you are it's once until and unless it downloads, you won't be able to run it. Guys, I would suggest everyone, okay, the people who are getting a PowerShell issue needs to upgrade it. So just upgrade your Windows patches, okay, and fix your version for the PowerShell, okay. The people who are getting the timeout issues, that's because the virtualization is not enabled in your laptop, okay. So you will have to get it enabled to make the virtual machines work, okay. And so you use the this one only, okay. It installed successfully, okay. Yeah, so see, those are the troubleshooting that you have to do, okay, whenever you are getting in some issues. So you have to do a basic troubleshooting, guys. Bala, I believe in your case as well, it's stuck on booting because the virtualization is not enabled. Can you verify that? Okay, you will have to go inside the BIOS configuration, okay, and check that within the CPU, advanced CPU, your virtualization is enabled because I think the booting is stuck because of your virtualization is not enabled. All right, guys. For now, let's move ahead. All the people who are, struck due to the virtualization option enabled. Okay. For that, I would suggest you to. uh, you know, yes, you will have to check that inside your BIOS. When the laptop starts, you will have to go into your BIOS, okay? And over there in the advanced CPU, you will have to check that the virtualization is enabled or not, okay? If the virtualization hasn't enabled on your laptop, then you will have to enable it before you can start using the Vagrant, because these are the virtual machines, right? So the virtualization needs to be enabled, then only you will be able to create the virtual machine. Your hardware should support it, okay? Till the time it's blocked in BIOS, you can't use the virtualization. All right, so after this, we are here, okay? So you can reach out to me on mail. I will help you in further troubleshooting over there, because we can't move ahead otherwise, because if the we have to move ahead with the session as well. So the people who are stuck, just try to verify their virtualization, okay? Upgrade the PowerShell version. And still, if you have some issues, you can connect with me on mail. I will help you troubleshoot there, okay? Just send out a support ticket to the Cognitia support team, okay? They will forward your mail to me and I will reply back. All right, so if you will see, here is your like, first of all, what happens is it checks for the image locally on the laptop. If it's able to find it, then it enters the virtual machine, enables the port forwarding on the port 22. So what it does is, if I have to create, I have to connect to my virtual machine, then I will connect to the on the port 2222. It will automatically forward the 2222 port on the host operating system inside the virtual machine on port 22, okay? That's SSH. So I will do the SSH on 2222 first thing. I can, this is my IP address, okay? Like 127.0.0.1 colon 2200. This is the IP address for my virtual machine. I have to connect on this to get inside my virtual machine, okay? And there I will see an IP assigned to. So I this will become more clear to you shortly, okay? And it has created all the configuration inside this folder. So if I want to get the detail of my SSH, I can run vagrant ssh hyphen config. So just run this. It will show you all the configuration which is required for you. Vagrant ssh hyphen config. Okay. Run this command. It now it shows you that the host name is 127.0.1, user is Vagrant, port is 2200, and here is your key. You can reach out to the server like that. Now the people who are working on Linux and Mac, you don't have to follow the further commands. What you can do is you can directly run Vagrant SSH, okay, and you would be taken inside the virtual machine, okay. This is only for the users who are working on Mac or Linux, okay. If you are working on Windows, you will have to convert this private key. You see this private key identity file, okay. You will have to convert this private key into a ppk file, which will be used by the putty to connect, okay. So what we are going to do now is convert this private key file into a ppk file, okay. So what we will do is we will use a putty gen, that is a putty generator, okay. So I have already downloaded it. You can download from the web, that's available for free. So you can do use putty generator like that, okay. Once you run the putty generator, you will reach out to the site on the Windows, okay. Here is a putty generator, not this one. Putty gen download, this one, okay. So there you go, download puttygen. And so you can go over here putty for Windows. So here is the versions for you. Okay, so you can directly download them. MSI installer. Okay. All right. So you can use this link to download the PuttyGen. Okay. Then open the PuttyGen. Here is the PuttyGen. Click on load. Okay. And you will have to go inside your virtual machine. So I will go inside February morning, CentOS, VM1, dot vagrant machines, defaults, VirtualBox. Okay. Inside that, I will select the private key. So you see, here is the private key. So just select the private key. So it says that it has successfully imported the foreign key. Click OK. Click on Save Private Key. Okay. Then it asks whether you want to pass a passphrase. We don't want to pass a passphrase. Click Yes. Okay. And name it. So you can name it CentOS only. Whatever name of your folder, you can provide that name and click OK. So now if you will see, if I go inside this folder, okay, inside the .vagrant folder, machines, default, VirtualBox, you will see CentOS.ppk file is there. Okay, this file will be used by the putty. Now what is putty? Putty is basically a SSH client through which we are going to connect on our Windows. You don't need to install the putty on Mac or Linux, because those are already having an SSH client. Okay, so you only need this on Windows. Now you can download the putty. Okay, so you can search for that, download putty from the putty.org. Okay, so you can download the putty from the putty.org. You can download it from here. Okay, once you have downloaded, so you can open the putty. So I'm opening putty. This is my putty. Okay, now I am going to connect through the vagrant user. Okay, if you will see the configuration file, you will understand this. The user is vagrant, right? So I will put on vagrant and the IP address. What is the IP address? 127.0.0.1. Okay, and then I will put on the port. So what is the port? 2200. Okay, this is the port where my virtual machine is running. So if I create more virtual machine, what vagrant will do is it will keep changing this port. Okay, so it will make the port 2200, then 2201, 2202, 2203, 4, 5, 6, and so on. Okay, another thing is you will have to go inside the SSH auth. Okay, click on browse, and you will have to provide your ppk file that we just generated. Okay, so go inside this CentOS virtual machine .vagrant and select your CentOS.ppk. Okay, once you have done it, click on open, and it will connect you to your virtual machine. So here is our virtual machine. We have connected to it successfully. Okay, change the appearance. Let me change it, increase the font size so it becomes easier for you to see the content. Okay, here is my virtual machine. So you see we are connected right now through the vagrant user. I can take a sudo. Vagrant user is having a sudo permissions. Okay, so I can take a sudo. I can run if config. If I run the if config, you will see the IP address. Okay, the IP address is 192.168.33.1. This is the IP that we have assigned to our vagrant file. So you can go into your vagrant file and verify the IP address. So you see the same IP address is here. So this is how you can create the virtual machines. Anyone having any questions still here? Nupur, you have to use the putty gen, okay, for generating the PPK file. Here is the putty key generator, okay. Just download the putty key generator. Another thing is click on load and select all files. You will see a private key, okay. Double click on that private key, that's it. Click on save private key without a passphrase and provide the name, that's it. It will save as PPK file. All right, anyone else? So Arunraj, the only thing is we are using PuttyGen because in Windows it doesn't recognizes the private key. Okay, we are using Putty and Putty uses PPK file, not the PEM file. So we are converting a PEM file to .ppk file. Guys, if you this is getting like somewhat early for you, so I would suggest that there is a recording we will be sharing with you, okay, for the entire session. Just pause it, perform all the steps one by one, okay, and then try to replicate the same. You would be able to replicate exactly the same because we are also doing it from scratch, okay. Okay, Manoj is saying, suppose I need to create multiple VMs, then how do I in one Vagrant file? Manoj, I will show you how to create multiple VMs. Just hold on a minute, okay? Bala Subramaniam is saying, couldn't follow since VM creation could not successfully created. So Bala, the VM creation in your case, it's not going through because the virtualization is not enabled on your laptop. Okay, you can connect with me on mail. Just send out a ticket. If it still persists, you are not able to open the virtualization, I will provide you the steps. Try to troubleshoot or try to enable the virtualization in your laptop, and then you will be able to perform. Most of the people were able to create it, okay. Only some of the people whose virtualization is disabled or PowerShell is outdated, okay, they were having the problem. These were the two major ones, okay. SSL issue we were able to resolve using that command. Sridhar, you can see the recording afterwards, okay? Because guys, we have to, this is the most basic part of the lab. We are going to perform much more advanced. So if you are missing on some of the parts, okay, uh, we can keep doing it, but then we won't be able to reach out anywhere, okay. So I would suggest you to use go through the recording, okay, that you can do on your own pace. If you want to pause, go ahead and pause it or drag and drop and see again, okay. Do we have this as a document so that we can refer later while configuring? Vishal, it's really simple. Okay, believe me, we are going to do this again and again, and then you will, it will become so clear to you that you will always use the you virtual box again and again. So you can reach out to the Cognitia support for the documents, okay, if you need. You will be having this recording with you, so you can follow this recording anytime you want. There is no SSL issue command. Sanjay, you will have to add the box insecurely. When you add the hyphen hyphen insecure option, okay, I have shared it in chat window, so you can just have a look at it from above, okay. So once you do that, okay, it will add it insecurely and then you can use it. It's just because there is an SSL issue with your laptop. That's why it's not able to download it. Do I need to save public key? Which public key you want to save, Sridhar? Yeah, you will have to change the public key, like the key to the PPK format. That's it. You don't have to do anything else. Vagrant automatically adds your public key inside the virtual machine, so you are able to connect through the Vagrant user. Samiksha, everything, all the PPT files, all the assignments, and all of these things would be available in your LMS portal. Okay, guys, all these things, all the recordings, all the PPTs, all the documents, everything is available inside your LMS portal. Connect with the Cognitia support team, get an access to the LMS portal. You will have everything over in the LMS portal. Okay. Samiksha, you not having access to the LMS portal? There are assignment labs, everything is there. So just check on it. If you are having any difficulties, see, you are not able to see the documents, just go ahead and drop a mail to the Cognitia support. That might be some technical issue, okay, which is why it's not showing. So drop a mail to the Cognitia support, they will reply you back, okay, help you get this sorted. So guys, that was all from the Vagrant side. Okay. Another thing that I quickly wanted to show you how to create additional machines. So see, we just created this CentOS VM1, okay, and we are having a Vagrant file right now. So just copy this Vagrant file, okay, create another folder. This time, let's say we create VM2. We can say this as VM2, okay. Go inside this VM2 and paste same Vagrant file here as well. Okay, now open this Vagrant file using the notepad, okay, and change the IP address. So I will quickly change the IP address to 12 because two machines can't have the same IP address. Okay, so Vagrant will give an error. So we changed the IP address from 11 to 12. Okay, I will save this. I have saved this. Okay, and then I will come down to my command prompt. I will change the directory to VM2. Okay, so I will make this VM2 and then I will directly run the Vagrant up. I will not run Vagrant in it. Why? Because there is already a Vagrant file I have copied over there, right? So I will run the Vagrant up and it will bring up the VM now. So as many virtual machines as I want, I can create it using the Vagrant. Hari is saying, what will be the password for root if I am accessing directly via VirtualBox? Hari, you can set the password for root user after taking sudo from Vagrant user. Okay, that's up to you. But by default, Vagrant doesn't allow you to connect through root user. It uses the Vagrant user only, and that too with a key file. Okay. Pratik, if you are, as I said to you, the people who are stuck at the booting, okay, or who are getting the timeout error, you have to verify the virtualization is enabled in your laptop. Okay, so you have depending upon whether you are using Intel or AMD, you have to check in BIOS. Guys, unless and until you do this, you won't be able to create the virtual machines. If you are not able to create the virtual machines, we have to figure out some different way for you, okay, to get the VMs. But try to resolve it because this is how the virtual machines, everyone else is able to create the virtual machines, okay. Okay, now if you will see, there is an error being reported. What it says is that port 80 is already in use. Okay, so what's the issue coming over here is, see, we enabled the port forwarding, okay, from 8080 to 80. Now already one VM is occupying that port. So another VM can't again occupy that port. Okay, so what we can do is we can disable the port forwarding for now, because two VMs can't forward on same port. That's the issue Vagrant has reported. Two, we have to comment this out, okay, or we have to use some other port. So since we are not going, don't need this port forwarding, so we are just going to comment that out, okay, and then go back to our VM and run the Vagrant up again, okay, so it will get resolved. Yes, Janish, by default, it creates a Vagrant user. Okay, you can take sudo and then create any user you like. You can create your own users. Okay, create SSH config and then connect through your user. Okay, but by default, first time when you create a virtual machine through Vagrant, it will create a Vagrant user by default. Okay, for the second VM as well, it will or do the it will use the Vagrant only. So Sanjay, what command did you run? I already provided a command for the SSL. What command did you run? Tell me the command that you run. Yeah, see, if you haven't used that command, okay, then it will obviously result in the error. Okay, guys, if I'm providing you some command, okay, try to use that command. This is the command that you have to run to overcome this. If you just keep saying that error is coming, it will not sort that out. You will have to run this command in case of a SSL issue. Okay, here we are adding the bento CentOS 7.5 box with insecure flag. So it will not check for the SSL, and your issue which is coming due to the SSL will get resolved. Okay. Everyone kindly note this command. If you are getting this issue, okay, you can resolve through hyphen hyphen insecure flag like that. Once your box gets added in your laptop, then run the Vagrant up and you will be able to create the virtual machine. Okay, Sanjay, this is for you. Kindly run this command. Okay, that will solve your problem. All right, so let this virtual machine come up, then I will show you how you can stop the virtual machine. Okay, destroy the virtual machine like that. All right, so the virtual machine is created now. It's running on port 2202. Okay, so Vagrant cannot forward the specified ports on this VM since they would collide with some other application that is already listing on these ports. Yeah, so Prasad, it's saying to you that port is already in use, so you will have to either change the port. You can make it 8081 like that, or what you can do is you can comment that out if you don't need port forwarding. Okay. All right. Uh, now see, the VM is running now. Okay. If I want to stop this VM, so I can run Vagrant halt. Okay. So I can run Vagrant halt. So if I run the Vagrant halt, then it will stop the virtual machine for me. Putty generation step again. Nikunja, putty generation, like you want to ppk, you are saying dot pem to dot ppk. Okay, let me show you just a second. If we put port forwarding off, then we cannot access the VM from outside the host, right? If you are running some service, then you won't be able to access that service. Okay, you will be able to access the port from your Windows operating system, but if it's running on some port, okay, then it will not work. All right, so Nikunja was asking for the putty gen. Guys, this is the last time that I'm showing this. Okay, I already showed it 3 times. So here we are running a putty key generator. Okay, this is your putty key generator. You will have to click on load. Okay, then go inside your virtual machine. Okay, where it has generated the PAM file, and you can get that PAM file location running vagrant ssh-config using this command. It will show you where your PAM file is located. Okay, if then select all files, you will see the private key file. Okay, double click on it, it will import the private key file. Click on OK, click on save private key, click on yes, and provide a name, whatever name that you want to provide. Okay, it's saving in it as .ppk, so it will convert the .pam to .ppk, and then you can use it in the putty. Okay. All right, so you see the vagrant has stopped the machine. It says it has gracefully shut down the machine. Okay, now if you don't want this vagrant machine anymore, you can run the vagrant destroy. So run vagrant destroy. It would delete this virtual machine. Okay, so once your work is over, see, whenever you need a VM, just run vagrant up. Once you are done, run vagrant halt, and once you are completely done, don't need it again, just run vagrant destroy. That would destroy the virtual machine. Okay, so you see only 2 or 3 commands are there, and you can create as many virtual machines as you want. Okay, so vagrant is really efficient, and this is how we are going to create all our virtual environments. Okay, whenever we are performing a lab, okay, we are going to create, I will ask you to create 2 core 3 GB, or 1 core 2 GB, or 1 core 1 GB machines. Okay, I will provide you the specification number of VMs that are required. You can use the vagrant to create them. All right, so that was from the, so it asked me whether I want, yes, I want to destroy it or not. So I will provide a confirmation, yes, I want to destroy it, and it will destroy it. That was about the vagrant. Next, we are going to start with the Git. Okay, so let's have a 5 minutes break. We are having 15 minutes, 20 minutes left for today's session. Okay, let's take a 5 minute break for now. Seema, it's showing you VM is locked because the VM might be running. Okay, that's why it says that the VM is locked. If the VM is running, it will not destroy it. So what you can do is you can run the vagrant halt first. Okay, make sure the VM is not running, and then run the vagrant destroy. It will destroy the VM. All right, so that was all regarding the vagrant. Okay, next we are going to cover the Git. Okay, that is our version control system. So let's take a break. Okay, for 5 minutes. Once we are back, then we are going to perform the lab on the Git itself. Okay, so I will put a 5 minutes timer. Once we are back, then we will have an introduction to the Git, and then we will start with the Git. Sorry, Samisha, which question did you ask? If we put port forwarding off, then we cannot access the VM from outside the host, right? But if we put port forwarding or when we host right, no. Samiksha, the thing is, see, what happens is, let's say I'm running a Puppet, okay? Now I want to access the Puppet UI inside my browser, okay? So how do I send a request to my virtual machine? So what I can do is I can send a request to my Windows virtual machine, okay? How do I, just a second, let me show you. You might understand more it from the practical perspective. Let me show you, okay? Just a second. Or not this one. Just a second. All right. So let's say I'm running a Puppet. I want to send it over in the Chrome. So how do I do it? So see, I can send a request to my host, which is the Windows, okay? And that Windows port will forward it to the virtual machine. Now, can't I communicate with my virtual machine? See, I can communicate with my virtual machine even in the absence of port forwarding. Why? Because port 22 is running, so I can connect my SSH. Okay, we are not disturbing that. That's something Vagrant is taking care of. Okay, if we haven't enabled the port forwarding, then we won't be able to see the Puppet dashboard. Okay, but it doesn't mean that we are not connected to our virtual machine. We will be connected to our virtual machine because that's a different thing. Port forwarding doesn't work on the virtual machine connection side. It works that a request is able to connect or not, and if a request has to connect, then there is a specific requirement for virtualization. This will become more clear to you when we reach down to the Puppet. Okay, so there you will see that we are opening in a browser, so we need to send the request to our virtual machine, and there is no way, one way of doing it. That's why we are enabling the port forwarding. Okay, and how do we send a request to the host operating system? Through the host IP address. See, if I go to the network configuration, okay, and I go to my Wi-Fi, okay, and I go to the wireless properties, sorry, not wireless properties, details. If I go to my details, you will see here is my IP address. Okay, so if I have to send a request, okay, this is the IP address, so I will have to send it on this IP. Okay, then it will work on that IP and it will forward it down. So if you will see my virtual machine IP, okay, here it is. I can run the if config. See, my virtual machine IP is 192.168.33.11. What if I wanted to connect to my host? Then I can connect on this IP address. Okay, 192.168.1.11. Okay, any request which is received on port 8080 on my this IP 192.168.1.11, it will automatically forward that request to 192.168.33.11 at port 80. Okay, is that clear to you now, Samiksha? Yes, Bala, you can check the different port. You can use the different port. If you change the 8080 to 8081, then it will work. Okay. Yeah, Git is independent. Okay, Sanjay. So you don't have to worry about this one. Okay. Let's start with the Git now. Okay. We are not taking any more break because 15 minutes we are already having. So if we take a break, so we won't be able to cover anything. All right, so let's start with the Git. Okay. Now, see, whenever we are working with any of the configuration management tool, okay, like in our case, the Vagrant files, or even the software side, okay, like in our code. So what happens is we keep on making some changes, okay, inside our code or files, and depending upon the number of files are that are there, okay, so there can be like 100 files, 200 files, depending upon, it can be any number of files, okay. There is no such thing like one or two file or things like that. So what we want is that whatever changes that we are doing, okay, we should be able to track the changes, okay. This is the very first thing, so that we know what changes we have done. Another thing is, since we are editing multiple files, okay, some of our code will work, some will not work, so we want a way where we can, make the changes, and then the finalize the changes. Once our code starts working, till the time we would have made multiple revisions, right? So we would have changed it multiple times. So how do we track everything? So here the version control systems comes into picture. Every time you make a change to your code, it and commit it, it will assign a version to it. Okay, version versions are like automatic. You can, from your perspective, you can think of it like version 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, like that. But it's basically a state till which the code was working, okay. So if I have to choose, I have to make something work, or I have to bring a new feature, or I have to bring some certain new functionality, then I will make a change and commit it, okay. Now, if the things works good, it's fine. Otherwise, I will revert back. Okay. So how do I revert back? How do I know which all files to be revert? That's something that my version control system will do. Another thing is we are working in a team. So I wanted to know what all persons who have written which code, because it's possible that someone might have written some code or deleted some code, after which the system fails, right? So we need to track those things. So how do we track it? Again, the version control systems comes into picture. These are some of the things which version control allows us to do. Now let's talk about the Git. So what is a version control system actually? See, version control system allows you to document the changes in your system, okay, which are happening. So just a second. Okay. Uh, So whenever we talk about a version control system, it allows us to document the changes to our files in the folders. Okay. So we can manage the multiple files and the information inside those multiple folders, like who has done what changes, who introduced those files, who deleted those files, who committed those files, and things like that. Okay. That allows us to manage the code. And then we can keep on assigning it the version, like version 1.0. Then we can manage two things, like we can assign it a major version and a minor version. What is a minor version? If we assign something like version 1.1, that's a minor version upgrade. 1.2, 1.3, those are the minor version. But if we do something like version 2.0, so that's a major upgrade. Okay, so this is how we can version our entire code, so that at any point we face some challenge, we can revert back to the previous version and keep the things working. This is especially needed in the DevOps if you are doing some web server related changes. Whenever you do a web server related changes, things are, it's possible that everything might go down. So your website goes down if you have done wrong web server changes. So how do you fix at the earliest? You revert back to the previous version which was working. Okay. So all the changes, faulty changes which you introduced in the system after which your website had gone down, would be reverted back, and your website will be back up again, okay, running again. Okay. That's the functionality that the version control system provides you. You don't have to do anything. It will automatically manage the versions for you. Okay. All right. So now another thing is this version control system. See, it's called source control system, version control system. All of these means the same thing. Why it is called source control system? See, the source control system or source management system. This means it allows the source code to be managed. Without the managing the source code, without managing all these versions, collaboration between the different users is not possible. If there are like 10 people working in a team, then they need to understand which person has done what code, and then they all need to combine their code to work as a single code, right? So we need to have an understanding like which person introduced what changes, and that the data should be consistent. Let's say person A assigned A a value of 1 and person B assigned A value of 2, right? So what should be the value of A? Now it should be 1 or it should be 2. So these kind of things version control system can track for you. And if two people try to assign two different values to A, then it will raise a conflict. Okay. And then the users have to sit together to figure out what's the conflict is and why the conflict is coming. Okay. Then there can only be one value to A. It can be 1 or it can be 2. It can be possible that we assign it first 1 and then assign it 2, but we are overriding it. Okay. So other user must also be aware about this. So all of these things are facilitated by the version control system. Over a period of time, you will see that all the changes in a serialized way to a project over a period of time can be replicated, okay, using the version control system, which means that uh, we can track when and what changes was introduced by whom in what respect. Okay. So it's like a snapshot of your entire project, how the people are coding into it, how the people are committing their code, how the people are managing their code. Okay, where the code is heading, what all features have been introduced, what not have been introduced, who is working on what. It provides you all of this information. Okay, that's why the version control systems becomes so necessary to manage the larger projects, where you have to manage, like in our case we have to manage so many configuration in so many servers. Similarly, in the code there is so many files and libraries which has to be managed. That's managed by the version control system. Okay. So Pratik is asking, how does this versioning done by DevOps is different from the Git versioning which engineering guys do to their code? Okay. So Pratik, in our case, we are going to version the configuration management repositories like Puppet, Chef, Git, or Puppet Chef, or Ansible, Salt, okay, or the Vagrant files that you just saw, okay, those can also be put to version. Because if someone, let's say we enabled the port forwarding on port 80, someone else enabled on port 43, like that. So we can version those changes and know who has done what changes. If some of the changes start breaking the system, we can revert back to the previous version. Okay. Similarly, you will see that you will be writing a lot of YAML files. Okay. In case of Ansible and Salt, and there is Chef receipts and Puppet receipts to be written. Okay. So you will again be working very much similar to the engineering team, where you are going to manage your configuration management repository. So you will need the Git for that. Okay. While the engineering team, basically the developers, they work on their code. They only use the Git for their code. Now there is no difference between the Git is working exactly the same, just that it is used everywhere for versioning. They also need the versioning. We also need the versioning. That's why you will see this is the only thing. We are managing it from the infrastructure side. They are managing it from the code side. Okay. Then we are also going to use the Git for the build and releases. So that's also come into picture. Okay. Another thing is when you are doing the version control system like Git, okay, you can integrate it with your ticketing tools like Jira, okay. So you can create the branches, put your code and commit your code. Then the person who has raised the request can track those changes inside the Git. Those kind of integrations are also there, okay. So that's also possible. So Pratik, are you clear on it, how the DevOps people uses it and how it differs from engineering team? All right. So we are going to cover the Git. Okay. So what is a Git? Git is a distributed version control system. This is really important to understand the distributed version control system. So at a point in time, there, see, the version control system is not a new concept. It has been there for a very long period of time, okay. So there were large number of tools which were available for this version control system, but all of them were having some issues, okay. So later in a point in time, the Linus Torvalds, who is the creator of Linux kernel, created the Git as well, and this was a version control system. So it solved all the shortcomings of all those tools, okay. And we will understand how the Git works, okay, and you will also see the advantages of the Git, okay. And at any point in time you can share your code with anyone else, okay. That's why it's called distributed version control system. It resides on more than one place. It will be on all the DevOps person's laptop, okay, on the servers. At the same time it would also be on the centralized server. That's why it's called distributed version control system, because it's running on different servers altogether, okay. And it can record all the changes to the files that you are making, okay, whatever, whether you are adding, deleting anything, it can track everything, okay. And it's very, it's speed is very fast, okay, because it works locally. If you will see SVN, which is also a version control system, it works over the network, so it's somewhat slower as compared to the Git because it's working over a network, while the Git is working locally, so it's comparatively faster as compared to SVN. Then there is data integrity, so it maintains the data integrity. This is of the utmost importance. See, you don't want a condition where someone just overrides your code like that. See, right now I just given you an example of a equal to 1 and a equal to 2 by some other person, okay. But think of it on a larger aspect. If you are having thousands of file, then your tool should be able to check these same conditions across thousands of file and make sure that the conflicts are not coming. Otherwise what will happen is one person will override the other person code and then nothing will work, okay. So data integrity needs to be maintained. It should be distributed and non-linear workflows. What is non-linear workflows? It means that at any point in time, okay, any changes can come. Some of the changes would be important than the other ones, okay. So we can work on any of the change at any point in time. It should not be serialized, okay. It should be like we can take any of the thing, we can code it and then merge it. This will become more clear to you when we I will take this through the diagram, okay, shortly. Then it will become more clear to you on the branching strategies and all, okay, how the non-linear workflows work. You will have to first understand what is workflows, how the workflows work. Then you will have to understand what is non-linear workflow. So this will become more clear to you as we move ahead, okay. For now, you just have to understand that it's a distributed version control system, means the version control will be present on more than one server. So it would be available on all the servers, uh, all the persons like the DevOps laptops, and even on the remote servers like your GitHub or Bitbucket. Okay, that's why it's called distributed version control system. It's very fast, it maintains the data integrity, it's distributed, and it follows the non-linear workflows, okay. So here is the overall workflow, how Git works, okay. So let's cover this Git workflow tomorrow because it's the overall thing that you need to understand. Okay, how developer A is working, how developer B is working, how they are communicating through Git across each other, and how the Git is facilitating everything. I will explain this in very detail. Okay, this is all the architecture, everything that you need to understand about the Git. Once you understand this, you will find it very easy to work with the Git. Okay, and then I will introduce you to all the commands and the practical aspect. This is only the thing that you need to be very clear. Okay, then you will be getting understanding about everything what is happening in the backend and how the things are working. Okay, so let's cover this tomorrow. Okay, and we are also going to cover the lab for the Git tomorrow. Okay, again we are going to use the virtual machines for the lab. So we are going to use at least one or two virtual machine. So it would be handy if you can get a virtual machine working and at least use have one virtual machine. If you are not able to get the virtual machine working, then you can get a virtual machine on the AWS cloud. If your virtualization issues on the laptop is not resolved today itself, so I will quickly show you how to create a virtual machine in AWS cloud to the people who but that's more on the learning side because we need a virtual machine. Guys, get a virtual machine. We just need a virtual machine. We are not going to learn anything how to really take a deep dive. We just need one virtual machine where we can practice. Okay, anyone having any questions regarding the session today? Because that's all from my side for today. Okay, tomorrow we are going to understand the workflow for the Git. Once we have covered the understand about the Git and the commands, then we are going to perform the lab. All right, and all the people who are still facing issue, as I have directed, try to enable the virtualization in your laptop, and then you can follow the video to perform the lab. In case you still have an issue, you can reach out to the Cognizia support, send a mail to me, okay, and I will help you out over the mail. Yes, Tofik, you should be able to create the virtual machines after enabling the virtualization inside your BIOS, okay. Yes, Janesh, you can create using the video because I have showed everything inside the video, right? How to, everything is recorded. So you can follow the recordings to create the virtual machines. Soham, that's the only thing which you required for the Vagrant. See, Vagrant we are using just to create the virtual machines. Okay. So there is no extra depth of Vagrant apart from that. These are the only things which you required to know. Assigning the IP address, assigning cores, assigning CPUs. That's it. How many CPUs you want, how memory can be allocated. What else do you want to use inside the Vagrant? See, this is the only thing which is required. Okay. Bala, I will try to share just a second. Okay. Let me quickly have a look. Okay. I will share you a link that you can follow. Just a second. So all the people who wants to use the AWS virtual machine, I'm sharing you a link. Okay, you can use that link. Okay, it's having a like all the screenshots for you how to create a VM inside the AWS. But guys, we are not supporting and we are not covering the AWS here. So we are not going to go into much detail of how to make this work, okay, over the AWS. Rather, we are focusing, we just need a VM, okay. So we are going to focus on that. But here is a link for you. You can use it. It's having all the details of how you can create a virtual machine step by step, okay, and how you can log in and everything from the scratch itself over a free AWS tier. So AWS provides you with a free tier account, so you can use one virtual machine of t2.micro for free, okay, for up to 1 year. So you can use that instance as well to perform the lab. It's up to you, okay. In Janesh, in real time projects, you can check that with the Cognitia support team, okay, and that will help you out regarding the real time projects and how to use the lab sessions for that, okay. All right, anyone else having any question? Okay, in corporates, you are having a cloud-based environment. They are having their own data centers and everything is there, right? So there you don't have to worry about the VMs. You will be running a data center. They are running their own data center, or they have signed up for the AWS or other cloud provider, Google Cloud or something like that. So they can create the virtual machines there, okay, but it will also act and it will also work exactly the same way that we are working. It's exactly the replica. See, whatever we are doing here would be the same things that you would be doing there, okay. There is no difference between the DevOps practices that that we are following here and that we would be doing there. So Git will exactly work same way, Jenkins will work same way, Ansible will work same way, okay. Anyone else having any other question? Janish, does that answer your question? This will be the exactly the same way that we are going to work as over there. Okay. So there we are creating the virtual machines in cloud. Here we are doing it on our laptop. It's the same way, same thing. All right. Thanks everyone. We are going to. I will see you all tomorrow. We are going to complete with the Git tomorrow, and then we are going to start with the Docker. That is our containers. Okay. So that's everything for today. Yeah, you can go ahead and destroy the Vagrant if you don't want to use that virtual machine. Go ahead and destroy it. You can later create it again when you need it. Just run the Vagrant up. That's it. Okay. So go ahead and destroy it if you don't need. All right. Thanks everyone. That's all for the today's session. I'm going to end the session now and see you all tomorrow. Yes, Soham. Tell me. Whenever we want to install Vagrant, we need to be connected to internet. No, Soham, that's not the thing, okay. So you don't need to be connected to the internet all the time. Only during the when the Vagrant first time runs and you download the VBox image. If let's say you first time create a CentOS 7.5, so you have to download it from the Vagrant cloud. That time you should be connected to internet. Okay, but let's say now it's downloaded on your laptop and you have created one virtual machine. Now you don't need internet. You can create as many virtual machines as you like. Okay, and it will not use the internet. No, Pratik, Vagrant Destroy will not remove everything. It will just destroy the virtual machine that you created. It will not uninstall Vagrant. You don't have to again install Vagrant or anything like that. Once you run the Vagrant Destroy, it will remove the files and the folders it has created for that running that VM. And then when you run the Vagrant up, it will again create everything automatically. Yes, Janish, you can get all of these things. Sridhar, we created a key in Windows because Windows doesn't recognizes the private key. Mac and Linux does. Okay. So we downloaded an SSH client, PuTTY, and PuTTY recognizes PPK file. That's why. Otherwise, no need for doing it. Okay. All right. Thanks everyone. See you tomorrow. Ending the session now.